the example that we're given is we go. We go to where they're at, we reach them where they're at. Then we give them a place where they can learn more. A Scottish preacher, Horatius Bonar, asked 253 Christian friends at what ages they were saved. Now, this is some staggering statistics. Under 20 years of age, 55%. Under 20 years of age. Between 20 and 30, 34%. Between 30 and 40, 8%. And after age 40, 3.4%. Now that might not seem that staggering, but let's look at it this way. Between the ages of birth and 30, 89% of people decide whether or not they're going to follow after Jesus. 89%. Done. How many people in this room is 89%? Guess it. I don't know. A lot, isn't it? Okay? That's a lot of majority of people may save that age. But the only way they're going to do it is if people like us get out of this chair and get over there before they turn 31. Because if we don't get out of this chair and get over there before they turn 31, then I think there's like a 60% chance that they're not going to make a decision for Jesus. 60%. That makes our job a lot harder. The third thing I found is we need to have compassion for people. And I know the first thought that comes to your mind, okay? We have to have compassion for the people that are poor. We have to have compassion for the people that are needy. That is right. But the type of compassion that I'm thinking of is we have to have compassion for smart people. The people that have those nice high-paying jobs, you know, the people that seem to have all the head knowledge. You see, they need more compassion than the people that are poor. Here's an example. At a university in Chicago, they have what's called a Baptist Day. And my background is Baptist, so I went on doing some reading of different things, and I came across this Baptist Day. So I thought, okay, this is kind of interesting. Let's see what they're talking about. So they have this Baptist Day. So the school decides that they want to bring more money in. They want people to give money to this university. So let's have a well-known speaker come in, and people will, I don't know, pay money to come see him. I don't know exactly how it works. But they had this well-known speaker come in to speak, and they raised funds. So this one year, they had a man by the name of Dr. Paul Tillich. Dr. Tillich spoke for 2.5 hours, proving the resurrection of Jesus was false. He quoted scholar after scholar and book after book. He concluded that since there was no such thing as a historical resurrection, the religious tradition of the church was groundless, emotional mumble jumble, because it was based on a relationship with the risen Jesus, who in fact never rose. At the end of his speech, he said, "Are there any questions?" The whole room was silent. After about 30 seconds, a little preacher in the very back of the room stood up. You know, a little man, very frail, gray hair. He stood up and he said, "Dr. Tillich, I got me just one question." He said, as all eyes turned towards him. He reached into his lunch sack and he pulled out an apple. He said, and he began eating the apple. He said, "Dr. Tillich," crunchy munch, "my question is a simple question," crunch crunch. "Now, I read them books you read," crunchy munch, "and I can't recite these scriptures in the original Greek," about negator or radiator, crunch munch. He finished the apple. All I want to know is, this apple I just ate, was it bitter or was it sweet? Dr. Tillage sat back for a minute. Then he answered the question with scholarly precision. He said, I cannot possibly answer that question, for I haven't tasted your apple. The white-haired creature dropped the core of his apple into his crumpled bag, looked up, and said, neither have you tasted my Jesus. You see, when we think of compassion, we think of those that are poor or suffering. But we forget those people that have become so wise that they miss the basic understanding of the gospel. The story about Dr. Tillage is just one example of how knowledge and salvation go hand in hand. The more knowledge a person has, the less likely they are to have faith in something that they can't understand. Verse 38 revolutionized the way I looked at evangelism. See, verse 38, there's one word in that verse. The word is workers. What's so special with the word workers? Especially in this verse. Pray therefore the Lord of the harvest to send forth workers into his harvest field. What's so special with workers? I thought about that. I heard that verse ever since I was a little kid. And then it came to me. Why didn't he say new workers? Why didn't he say fresh workers? He just said workers. And then I had this thought. My thought was this. You see, some people were sitting here. They got up from their seat. They came across here. They got through this wall. And they came over here. And they were sitting down. And they were reaching people. But then something happens. Don't know what that something is. But something happened. And they got up from this pew. They went back over here. They built this wall up again. And they decided to sit back in their pew. That's what I think is what happened. Pray therefore, Lord of harvest, to send forth workers. You see, that's not only a call for people that have not been doing it to start doing it. That's a call for those of us that have decided to stop doing it, to start doing it again. This spurred on another thought. I've been in churches all over Canada and all over the United States. In every church that I've been in, none of them have been packed. No church has been full. And then I thought about the church I go to. I thought about the amount of times that I've sat in that chair and I haven't been over here. And I sat back and I wondered, now, why am I content to be there? Why do I want to sit here when I know my church has empty seats? Why do we decide to sit there when we know that our church isn't full? And even if our church is full, let's just say that our church is busting at the seams. We have more people in here than we have seats for. Well, praise the Lord. Is the church down the road the same way? Is the church down the next corner the same way? Is the other Wesleyan church? Is the Pentecostal church around the corner packed? You know, if we can't say that every church around here is packed, then we're not done. We're nowhere close to being done. See, I'm not asking the question of why we're here and not there because somehow I know the answer. I don't know what the answer is. And I'm not saying it because somehow I reached some higher like my 4 years of Bible school somehow put me in a higher spiritual plane. No? I struggle with that question just as much as others do. So why do we sit there? Well, one possible answer is we didn't bother following the model that was given to us in Matthew 9. You see, in writing this sermon, I realized a lot of things about myself. This sermon, to give you a little background, this sermon was written for a preaching class. I preached this sermon in 2004. And I didn't have an answer for this question. So my script still reads, I don't have an answer for this question. But I've had a year to think about it. I've had a whole year to sit back and try to put an answer to this question. And I still don't have it. I just know that if we hope, and if our desire is to have our churches full, and to have people come to know Jesus, then we've got to follow Matthew chapter 9. We've got to get into that seat and get into that one. See, I know why I'm sitting in that chair. I know why I'm not reaching people for Jesus. My question this morning is a simple one.